Welcome everyone. This is Acid Roots. I've got a review for you in the form of Lady Gaga. So this woman was one of the larger pop artists of the past 6 years or 8 years. I'd say between like 2008 and about 2012, 2014, she always had some song on the radio, and that's good. These are not songs that you feel like it was luck that she just happened to nail it. This is one of those albums that kind of was similar to maybe like the Bruno Mars album that I reviewed. That just it's kind of like a staple as far as R&B music. This is kind of a staple as far as pop music. And I think once we get to the point where it's like 15 years after this has been released, it's going to be recognized as such. It may not be a 5-star album, but it's an important album. And that's really something. I think one of the reasons why you could say that is because, losing my train of thought, is because this was kind of something that was left wide open, and Lady Gaga captured it, managed to do it good, not just do it, but do it well. A lot of Europop and dance type music, electronica music kind of spawned around 2008, 2007, 2010. But this kidnapped it in almost like a hip hop sense, because there weren't really any rappers who were doing this, but it's loud enough to get you excited, but it's lighthearted enough to not have to worry about any threats going on. So that's kind of, it's got a good medium as far as accessibility, and it also does as when you concern with how many people are going to recognize this person. So it's good. People will say, yeah, I know Lady Gaga, and the hits off this album back it up. So this is something to know. The production on this project, there was a lot of songs just meant for having a night out and doing whatever you want to, just going nuts. I would say, obviously Just Dance is one of those, but I also felt like Love Game, Starstruck, Boys, Boys. These are some good ones. I Like It Rough. You're going to have to pick up on these. In a lot of ways, more so than just, she's a fun character. That's the thing about her, is she's fun. Lady Gaga, it seems as if, she has an ear for music. Like, she knows, okay, this is something I think will actually make for a good song. And sometimes you can tell that doesn't work just because you can feel that it almost feels stilted. Like if you listen to certain songs and it's just like, oh, like it's hard to describe, but sometimes you can see the ideas behind them more. So that's something, I do appreciate this music. But we'll get to the unheard songs, and I'll elaborate on my points a little bit more. Yeah, I liked 8 songs out of 14. So the 8 songs I liked were Just Dance, Love Game, Paparazzi, Poker Face, Money Honey, Starstruck, Boys, 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 and I Like It Rough. Now, beyond those songs, the rest of them, I think in a lot of ways Lady Gaga found, like, she found a, can't think of the word, she found a sweet spot as far as something that she can do. Like, she has there's a word for it, and I can't, she found a skill. She found a skill as far as something that she's good at, and she demonstrates it 8 times on the project. But the only other thing is the rest, trying to make it like a complete pop album is difficult because you don't know what direction to go in. Are we going to go makeshift? Are we going to go ballad? Are we going to go, food for thought? These are kind of things that was the point where you don't really know what direction and whether or not that's the thing that she needs to focus more on. I'd say, for what she does, I could listen to another 20, 30, 50 songs just like the 8 songs I mentioned. I'm not looking for a complete dinner, in other words. And I think, some folks may think the same thing. But, like what I was saying with with as far as the songs, and well, we'll just skip that. We'll just say, she has the ability to make songs, and I think a lot of these, just because you can tell that they're club and outgoing songs, does not necessarily mean that they're, one note and bland. So that's definitely something you just have to pay attention more. So I'm going to give this album, because I liked 8 out of 14, I'm going to give it a 7.5. Really 6 songs that I did not like, mainly because these songs were good. I should give it a 7, but the fact that I like these, and I know that she could do it more if she wanted to, it just happened that, people wanted to see her from a different angle and see if she can make songs beyond that. And I think the answer is do you really need to? But, that's definitely, it seemed to me like it just wasn't as interesting. But I'm going to give it a 7.5. And the future, Lady Gaga is working on music, and she acts, so you can see her in some stuff. And I've got more albums by her to review, so we'll definitely cover that. The social score, which means how it plays around you and a group of friends, I'm going to give it an 8.5. Just because there's several singles off this project. She's a fun character, and the music has spark, so that's something. And that's generally it. Can it be topped? I think the answer is it could, but not by too many notches. So, alright, I give this album a 7.5 and an 8.5 social.